Now we move to other issues. Now, recently, most Nigerian virtual card issuers deactivated their services, which has compounded pains with international payments in Nigeria and much of Africa. The root cause again was traced to MasterCard's displeasure with increasing frequency of chargebacks in Nigeria. Well, let's talk to Tunde Buremo. He's the Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of Cardify. He joins us virtually to talk about virtual card. Hi, Tunde, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you.
It's good to have you join us virtually to talk about virtual cards. But why are virtual card issuers, why are they deactivating their services?
Yeah, well, to understand the reasons behind this, we have to take a look back. In July 2022, Union 54, one of the leading card issuing platforms at that time, shut down its operations. They faced challenges such as inflexibility, from their card scheme partners and lack of necessary technical solutions to address operational issues promptly. So this forced several card issuing platforms, who were also partners of Union 54, to follow suit. Now, recently, in May 2023, a lot of fintechs, including ourselves, had to shut the former card programs and commence issuance of new cards. There are two basic challenges card providers face generally. The first challenge is insufficient balance. So this is in two ways. One is when a user enters card detail on a platform they are purchasing from, when they are aware or even not aware that they don't have as much in the card balance of that card. So this also happens with recurring subscriptions. Another case is when a user makes a payment on a platform that validates such a transaction but does not process the deduction in card balance immediately. So what happens is within that short period of time, the user now tries to spend that same balance elsewhere, resulting in failed transactions, due to insufficient balance. The second and most prominent is cashback fraud, as you have mentioned, also known as first-party fraud.
So obviously, these are having some negative impact on fintechs, especially in the country, and probably threatening the growth of fintechs. Yeah.
So chargeback fraud, is also known as first-party fraud because it is perpetrated by the consumer in this case. So setting the record straight, chargeback fraud cost sellers over $20 billion in 2021. And data from MasterCard suggests that global chargeback volume may reach around $117 billion by 2023. So putting this in perspective, the report shows that the average chargeback will ultimately cost merchants around $3 for every $1 sale in revenue. So here is how this happens basically. A user spends his card at an e-commerce platform, for example, and gets delivered the product or service he purchased. But it doesn't end there. The user now contacts the issuing bank that he did not receive the item or, make a claim that he does not have knowledge of that purchase and does not know how such transaction was carried out from his account. So in such a case, the issuing bank is able to, take back the money from the merchant whose services have been used to process the payment on that e-commerce platform. So merchants now get to claim their money back because that product or service was actually disbursed. And in a lot of cases, get to report the BIN, that's the bank identification number of the card provider, which could, lead to suspension of the ability, to issue cards. So because of this, card schemes normally give card providers a certain threshold not to pass, with respect to cashback. So it's around 1.5% of total transactions. And they also charge card providers between, let's say, $20 to $100 for each cashback, whether the claim is true or not. So you will agree with me that card providers pay a lot of hidden fees, hidden charges, that is actually difficult to charge end users, most especially when those end users, the end users in this part of the world are not familiar with those charges.
So that makes it really difficult. But very briefly now, any hope of this being resolved recently? Because I know recently it's been really difficult to do international payment, with cards. Any hope, briefly, please?
Yeah, so when talking about hope, we've got to talk about the solutions to this issue, and the approach that should be taken by fintechs is to know your customer, the KYC and AML measures, so that it can become easier for law enforcement to track down fraudulent activities. Also, the use of disposable virtual cards is being explored as a solution, because we realize that some users may unintentionally experience insufficient balance issues because they use these cards for specific goals. So at Cardify, we are also considering offering one-time disposable cards, that can be used for single purpose and discarded afterwards.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Tunde Buremo, Chief Executive Officer and co-founder of Cardify.
It's a pleasure.